Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who are tuning into these videos. In this video, I want to go over a few precepts and certain notions and topics about the supposed war that's happening in Ukraine against Russia. And so I was doing a World War III algorithm and watching the news, seeing if anything that's happening, taking place over there in the Middle East, because you got a lot of big players right now over there, like Russia, Ukraine. That thing is supposedly still happening, but then you also have the thing that's happening in the Gaza Strip. And then you got Greta Thunberg out there speaking a whole bunch of stuff. Donald Trump is even commenting on it. And with that, with all these people being sent out in militias to go to other countries and various places, what you're witnessing is the flex and the cutting edge technology that the military now currently has. And all of these things were pretty bare bones, probably like 15, 20 years ago. But you can see with experience and time and money, they've perfected these things. And, you know, with that being said, because we're seeing all these things that are taking place in a biblical prophetic standpoint, pursuing to World War III, and how all these nations are going to gather to the Valley of Yehoshaphat, we can't forget the fact that those troops are also going to be over here, the National Guard imposing martial law, doing Rex 84, going house to house, making sure that people are where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing, and enforcing certain things like a curfew. Now, with that, I was watching these various clips that the news has of, it's pretty gory, where they have these Russian soldiers and the Ukraine soldiers, going back and forth, back at it. But as I was watching various clips on the news, I was seeing just how different this new war field is. And so with the introduction of drones really makes it so that anybody can go to war and slaughter hundreds or just like a whole troop and battalion. Like it only takes an iPad to fly those things. So a lot of these babies growing up on iPads are pretty fully capable of picking up a drone and driving that into certain clips like I have here on my screen. And I had just Googled a few things. I'm not going to go into too many articles because you can see like this little clip that's kind of playing Russian soldiers surrenders to Ukrainian drone. Because a lot of those people, they're not going door to door, kicking down places, exchanging rounds to each other, shooting each other. No, what they're doing is they're basically getting in place and flying a drone over there. And that drone's got a whole bunch of explosives. And they just, fly it to them, and it blows up. It's very easy, so easy that a caveman can do it, or a baby with an iPad can do it. But as I'm seeing these things, I was meditating on how that's going to show here in America when martial law takes place. Because, you're going to have troops all over in various places on the earth because of the World War III, but you're also going to have those troops here imposing draconian measures, martial law. And this is not a fight that we're going to be able to win by, taking up arms and going up against this militia. No, the only way you can overcome what's about to take place is the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That's what's going to keep us stable in these times to come. And to the 2/3, really, I'm just going to showcase that these are the things that they have to look forward to. Because you got people always saying that we should take up arms and do this and that, buy black, a whole bunch of failed psyops that the 2/3 like to do and say, but really they're just selling wolf tickets. Because this military is so futuristic in terms of like advancements and things that your regular 2/3 Jake in the hood has nothing to do but obey what Esau Edom is about to impose on them. So I'm going to read just from this Google thing that they said in this article. So I'm going to start right here. It says, in some instances, modern technologies change conduct on battlefields, leading to the reconsideration of applications of existing law to armed conflict, principles and rules. A case in point is Ukraine's use of modern communications and drone capabilities to facilitate the battlefield surrender of Russian soldiers. Now, me personally, I was in the military and I had my share of doing certain things, but in the military, you had a thing called the rules of regulations. You can't just go around like it's a Call of Duty lobby or a GTA lobby. We had specific things and guidelines that we were following, that we weren't basically shooting people for no apparent reason. It had to have been an equal exchange. And so if you were to go into those rules and regulations, some of them kind of sound kind of redundant because you're pretty much just out there like a sitting duck until you're allowed to return fire. And so that's why in this article, they were kind of bringing up the thing that this isn't really like the warfare that we're used to. This is a warfare where basically a person is now just sitting in a chair miles away from their target, and they're just sending a little aluminum plastic thing with C4 charges. So the rules and regulations technically don't apply anymore, or at least that these people want to make different rules and regulations because it's just so easy for them to do this. So actually, let me just showcase a few of these things because I was watching these clips, and like what you see here is a lot of these Russian soldiers supposedly, of course, were surrendering because they were seeing there were a whole bunch of bird-shaped bumblebees were flying in the sky with those that drone noise, and then they were just dropping their payload, blowing up specific things like their armored carrier personnel, their tanks, their trucks, their Humvees, their helicopters, their tents where they have all their foods, their porta potties even. So it's like you can just see in the clip that the people pretty much just had nothing else to do but to put their weapons down and surrender. And if they shoot the drone, another one's just gonna come, and so they just keep sending them. Where you got a whole bunch of these clips where, like this one, you got just robot warfare, just going to their target and blowing up. And a lot of the Russian and or Ukraine soldiers, supposedly, that if they do see these things in their crosshairs, they just surrender. They just put their hands up and surrender. And you got various clips of this. And let me see. Like I was just reading this in the news, and you always see like how like they are advancing supposedly here, there, back and forth, exchanging explosives back and forth. But then every now and then you'll get a few clips of this, because I remember like when this started to escalate a little bit over there in Kiev, you would see this clip, you would see this thing in detail that these Russian soldiers are pretty much just putting their hands up and just quitting, waving the white flag, because it really this is advanced warfare that's going to lead to World War III. And World War III is not going to be fought like a Call of Duty lobby. It's going to be fought with fire, with thermonuclear missiles, because it's redundant to send hundreds of troops, children or young adults who are conscripted into the military with all of this weapon and advanced gear and the time and money that was put into them to just go out there to get blown up by a drone. They just, flies to them, blows up. It's redundant for that to happen. And so with that, it made me think of this scripture here in Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So in the old times, in the ancient times, you had nations come up against another nation. And those nations basically had all their men and their resources, and they went against each other with shields, swords, arrows, horses and carriages, siege weapons, all those things that, like, if you were to watch these old-time movies like Kingdom of Heaven or, certain fantasy movies where they showcase, like, it's like the before times, before they had guns and cars, they would fight with armor and swords. So that was what every battle was. Loud noise, metal clinging to each other, and blood gushing everywhere. But now with the advanced warfare, that we're witnessing, it's not like that at all. It's to the point where basically it's just explosions, because that's the one and done guaranteed way to win whatever conflict you're in. So you can see just how it reflects that the regular conflict and these people, how they just have that capability. They don't have to sneak up to you and point a gun to your face. They're doing that miles away from you. So you can see that it's going to escalate to a point where the elites are going to have no other choice but to counteract the missiles, because someone's going to shoot those missiles, and it's just going to all mainly go into Babylon the Great. Because this war right here ain't going to be fought with tanks and helicopters and sending soldiers out there. This war is basically advanced warfare where explosives are involved. There's literally no strategy where a human foot soldier, infantry, can do. And that all is pertaining to prophecy. We do these World War III algorithms so we can watch these things in the news and get in the spirit. And we definitely have the vision of how these things are going to take place over there on the Eastern Front, but also here in Babylon the Great, America, when martial law happens. So I'm going to read this precept, and I'm just going to read the rest of these. This is in Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, until the day that I rise up to the prey." So we're not out here trying to form a militia. We're not out here toting weapons and saying that we can go toe-to-toe against a person. Esau Edom, the guy who has the blessing of the sword, who has got a plethora of type of technologies that all pertain to killing. So we're not advocating those things. All we are sent to do is to prophesy against Mount Seir. And this word is sharper than any two-edged sword. We don't have to do any of those crazy things. So long as you are doing the right thing and keeping Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai in your prayers and your mindset, then you shall overcome whatever situation you are in. You might be thrown into a camp. You might have to leave your house because of turmoil. But ultimately, the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai is going to keep you stable. Not getting in a militant mindset. Learning how to do push-ups and this and that and shooting from long ranges or whatever. All that is carnal. The real warfare, the spiritual warfare, is that you have to understand what Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai's determination is. Because he's going to gather all these people over there. And the ones who aren't gathered, the 2/3, they're just going to stay here and get slaughtered. So I'm going to read from the top again. "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." Because that's where all of this is leading up. You can't really top the nukes. That's basically the apex form of warfare. You see in these movies with war, that Oppenheimer movie that came out. They have various movies that Esau has put out pursuing or pertaining to the nuclear missiles and the advanced warfare that revolve around them. Is basically, this is it. Like how Albert Einstein was saying that he doesn't know how World War III is going to be fought, but World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones. Saying that basically that the fact that they have these nuclear missiles and they're only getting better. They got the Satan II missile now. They can go hypersonic, meaning that no defense system is going to be able to stop this. So this is the determination of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And his determination is to gather all these nations and burn them with fierce anger, and the earth is going to be devoured with the fire of his jealousy. So you can see with this vision how this is all going to take place. So what manner of person ought you to be in all holy convocation and godliness, looking for and hastening the return of Yahushai? Because that is who we are going to be delivered. So he's going to be the one who delivers us out of this situation. Because we are going to witness these things. We're going to experience the martial law and the Gurkha troops going door to door. But if you have faith in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, you should be good. So I'm going to read just a few more precepts. I'll close it off. This is in Jeremiah 30 and 7. "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So this day, this great day, is not going to be like any other situation that the nation of Israel has been through. This is going to top the Egyptian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, the Assyrian captivity, Esau's captivity, because it's all going to be just condensed for that last go around, mainly for the 2/3. That's why it's called Jacob's trouble. But if you continue reading that precept, it says, but he shall be saved out of it. And that he is speaking about the elect, because they're the ones standing stiffly for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's name. Those are the ones who are going to have the angels encamp around about, because they fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And if those people in their ways please Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, he's going to make even their enemies be at peace with them. And all these things and practices start now. That's why with all that get understanding. Read these scriptures so that when that evil day comes, you are prepared and you know how to operate in the spirit. All right, so let me see. I'm going to read Isaiah 47 and this is Isaiah 54 and 17. It says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And so that's who's going to be backing us. That's why it says that no weapon formed against us is going to prosper. Doesn't matter how many drones this devil's going to send us, or whatever he's got else in his sleeve, up his sleeve, but ultimately he's not going to be able to overcome the elect. And we're going to speak these things. So whatever they say, they're going to try to incriminate us or whatever to make us look like we're at fault or accuse us before our power. But ultimately, nothing he's going to do will stick. Whatever attempt he does will not be fulfilled. And so I'm going to read this last precept here in Daniel 12. It says, Daniel 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. So this time is going to be so terrible, and we're going to be full of turmoil and situations like that the archangel Michael has to stand and protect us. So there's going to be more angels encamping around about us, but it just showcases that, like, how much protection we're going to have in that evil day. And then also at the last part of this verse, it says that, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And this is referencing the book of life. Those who are written in the book of life from the ancient times. Speaking about how this was foretold, declaring the end from the beginning, because whose names are found written in the book are of the elect. And those are going to be the ones who are going to stand stiffly for his name in times of trouble. And whenever a drone flies by, they're not going to be afraid, because we're not afraid of people who can kill you, but rather we are afraid of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, who can kill both body and soul in hell. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakakwadash, and Shalom Akim.